Look what the wood slicing machine made. Lots of wood slices. Now they need to be moved up into the drying tunnel so they can sit there and dry out before going into the charcoal kiln. I made these drying wagons for this job and a little field railway to connect everything up. But there's a problem.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Somebody built an engine shed in the way. Can't believe it.
I think we might have put the roof in the way.
Yep, just a bit.
The railway runs down in the right direction, but the roof's too low or the rails are too high. So we need to clear things out and reset the rails.
Yeah. Well, it does go under, which is good enough.
Yeah, as long as they're not sticking out over the top.
Yeah.
The problem is that it's getting steeper and steeper, and railways don't work that well if they're on a slope.
Feel free, go, see what happens. Ooh, it only just went over under. Oh, it goes downhill, all right? Okay, imagine it's really full up. Could you push that back up again?
But I can't see any other way of laying out the track, so I'll just have to find a way to push the full wagons up, or pull them up maybe. Anyway, we're not there yet. First, we have to fill them.
Groovy.
Now, obviously, this isn't a good way of loading the wood. And fish boxes are awkward and heavy to lift if you're on your own. And one of these wagons takes about 18 fish boxes to fill. So we need a better solution. Could we slide a fish box up a slippery slope? And find a way to tip it up at the top.
Yeah. Nice in theory. If you had a robot your size and shape, it would be fine. The problem is the angle of that is all wrong for holding much. And you also want to be on the other side for operating the machine.
I made a pulley from a wheelbarrow wheel and put a rope around it.
Okay, that's good. Of course it's going to... Okay, not bad for a start.
Now we could have added runners to the box to keep it on the rails, but it's not really the right shape anyway. So Ashley and I made a new box out of some galvanized sheet metal and some trailer ply because it's going to live outside all the time.
bit more. More. Like that. Ooh, bendy. Wow, pretty good.
We stiffened the front and the back edges with angle iron riveted on. And then I cut some fittings out of offcuts of the ply. And that was all to fit this frame that Will and I set up. We replaced the ladder with longer lengths of metal pipe, fixed at the top onto a timber frame and bolted to the concrete floor under the slicing machine. I reinstalled the rope pulley Now, crucially, there's a cross piece that slides between the two pipes. These pipes come in different sizes and a couple of the sizes fit together quite neatly, though I did add some grease later. The plan is to have the hopper pivot on that cross piece, but it first has to sit horizontally to carry the load, obviously. So there's a bar at the back which rests on the pipes to stop it tipping too far backwards. But will it slide up and down? Ooh, that's quite good, isn't it? Let's do it again. Except now it's raining. Now that was easy because the rope was tied directly to the cross piece, which we know can slide up and down. But the challenge is to get the hopper to tip over and empty itself once it reaches the top. So how can we make that happen? I could use a second rope, one to pull the hopper up and another to tip it over. But wouldn't it be neater if I could somehow do the job with just one rope? Of course, it's all about pivot points and balance. I tried attaching the pull rope to different parts of the assembly, trying to find the sweet spot where the hopper would slide up first and only tip over when it can't slide any higher. Of course, the rope mustn't foul the hopper or the mechanism in the meantime, so I added a spreader bar. There are stoppers on the pipe rails, so it can't go too high. Right, interesting. Let's try that again with a different pull point. No, that's not it. Slide first, then tip over. Maybe it needs some weight. No point getting it right for an empty hopper. No, that's not it either. Small changes in the pull point make a big difference. I kept experimenting. Closer. Yes, it slides. Yes, it tips. Hooray! But then it gets stuck because it hasn't tipped back up again. So that's no good, is it? It needs some kind of tipper-upperer to knock it back into its original position, otherwise it can't return underneath the slicing machine to its rightful place. I tried a few different things at different heights in the rain, but nothing worked. Until I tried my SLARCH frame, something I made a couple of years back, which is very useful for moving logs and also, it seems, for this job. I'll put a link in the description to that video because you might like that one too. The SLARCH frame is sturdy enough and tall enough to be a hopper tipper-upperer. Excellent news. But there's still a problem with the sliding mechanism. It is a bit stiff. So I took everything apart again just so I could re-weld the crosspiece 2 inches higher up the slides. This is so that the rests at the back of the hopper were resting on the slides and not on the rails themselves. I was hoping this would reduce the friction, and it did work, though it probably took a couple of hours just to change that one thing on my own. But at least all the parts now seem to be working. Now I just have to get them to work at the right place. So I moved the stops up the pipes, the top hopper stoppers, if you will. So now we're ready for its first full height test. Very exciting. It has to pass under the slicer frame, over the tipper-upperer, slide up to the top hopper stoppers, tip over, slide down, get tipped back into position by the tipper-upperer, and then slide back under the frame into its resting position. Yay! What fun! It worked! Let's try it again from a different angle. Very good. Now, can it carry a load? Here comes a log. This is very satisfying. Let's get the drying wagon into place and see if it can do some useful work. Aha! Look, another snag. That angle iron we used to stiffen the front edge catches on the top of the wagon. I did try adjusting the hopper so it tips over but not as much, but then it wouldn't empty properly. So I had to lift up the rails again and lower the ground just a little more. Until the hopper just about clears the wagon. That's just something else to improve on when I have the time. But of course I had to see if it could lift up wood slices and empty them into the drying wagon. First of all, I had to make some wood slices. Most of them went into the hopper, but obviously I need a baffle or two to guide in the stray ones. And this is the first time to test it all. Will it work? Well, sort of. It missed the wagon with some of them. Let's try that again. Yep, definitely missed with some. Never mind, I'll just make some more. And look, a little shaking is all it needs. Except then, the tipper-upperer didn't quite work that time. I was just too slow sliding it back down again. So it was all down to operator error. A bit of practice and it all worked fine. So now I have a way to fill the wagons easily. That's great.
Okay, ready, Teddy? Push!
Oh! Got stuck.
Yeah. Very tight. Try it again.
Oh! He ran into the thing. That's a lot of kindling, Tim.
Yeah, very nice, Nick.
All in all though, pretty good progress I think.